Welcome to MellyS The Story Collector web TV, where each week we bring you inspiring stories from courageous individuals about the moments and experiences that have shaped their lives. In this episode, we get to talk with the beautiful Leanne James about how she went from little to no self-worth at all due to a very traumatic relationship to having complete confidence in herself and her abilities, and now being able to help others find that self-worth within themselves.
Why do I want to share my story and parts of my story, not all of it, with people who do listen is because I know there's a silence that has become the reason that people do not share, and then their toxicity gets stuck inside their bodies. So whatever the story is that people don't want to share, it can be the cause of, stresses and illnesses and anxieties. Some of them are obvious on the surface, but then it's the ones that we just keep burying deep down inside that cause the gradual impacting on our general well-being, emotional, physical, and it's because those things are stuck so deep within our bodies that they can come out sometime later. And it's in the coming out sometimes later that we don't even know when that actually began. I have a very small part of a story I haven't even shared online, but and it began where I was having difficulties in my relationship with my husband. And without going into all the details, I was actually suffering from a rib out of place that I got from work one evening. And if you ever had a rib that's out of place and it pokes into your lungs, it is the most painful thing. I've had it before, and so I knew what had happened again. I'd slept so solidly one night after having it hurt myself that when I woke up, I couldn't breathe. Every breath in was like expanding onto my rib, which was,
Pushing into you. Yeah. Wow, that is so painful.
Yeah. And the same day, there was a lot of moments that were in conflict with my husband, and not going into that detail, but because the emotion of that day with the marriage and the pain of the rib somehow melded together in my body. And even when I got my rib fixed and physically I seemed to be okay, the emotions that got trapped in my mind, the beliefs that got trapped in my psyche at that time continued for 4 years.
Wow.
And I felt every time I went through this, just lie back and take it. I just don't know what's going to happen next. So just be done with it. Just lie back and take it. And every time I had those thoughts and feelings come to me, I had this rib pain. It was like through here, through here, through here. It was just like I was being speared, and to the point of the pain and tears from that. And yet I noticed the connection of the thoughts that were coming through, and the pain would reveal itself. Once I unpacked the belief, once I was able to reveal that belief and had the courage to sit there and look inside myself and really truly go, this is not part of who I'm supposed to be. This is not my authentic self. This is not my divine potential. Once I could do that, I was able to breathe through and allow that pain to pass. Now, I no longer had a rib that was out of place, but I had
the pain was still there.
Post-traumatic pain that was still there.
Yeah.
So I know I've experienced, and that's just one event, I know that people can still have pain in their body that they don't even know when it began. And if they're willing and they're really wanting to confront the things that are unseen, then they can do it. And they can reveal, not relive, they can reveal those issues and let them pass. They're not part of the future. You don't have to relive every moment from the past. You just don't. I mean, it's a choice. So moving forward a number of years, and then more trained in the counselling side of things and abuse counselling and relationships, etc., I found myself in a really toxic relationship, and that's probably the dark past that I speak most about in my story. I learned a lot. I never thought I would learn a lot in a situation like that, but I had the courage to do something and move forward. I do remember the moment after years of being so manipulated and controlled and imploding and like completely just caving in on myself. And I remember that moment walking around the house saying to myself, it's just as easy to give in, just that little bit more, just, I could just feel only one little bit of me left. It felt like I'd almost been poof, like a puff of smoke, just gone.
Wow,
And
that's like an intense image to think that your whole identity could just be gone so quickly.
Yeah. I was afraid to think. I was afraid to make decisions. I was afraid to feel anything. I was walking on eggshells all the time. If the phone rang, I didn't know whether I should answer it or not because I'd get into trouble if I didn't answer the phone within 10 minutes. It was insistent on me to pull the car over, let the kids sit in the car and talk for however long I needed to, because this person was insistent that they were the most important person in my life, not even the father of my children. And it went on and on and on. The, daily catalogue of all this sort of stuff. And I know that people are suffering, but they don't know how to express it. And I know that they're unaware of how to help themselves in a time when there's no one else around to help them. Mm. I wasn't able to get to psychiatrists and psychologists for the most part once it was discovered that I was going. I had been stalked and in numerous different ways, emails, phones, etc. And so I had this intense fear of ever being found out about anything. It seemed that I couldn't even have a conversation with my children by text message or an email to a friend, and that would even be revealed. So
So how did you get out from under all of that?
So little by little. And it's a story I will probably unpack in a face-to-face and workshops and like presentations, more so than in videos that can be shared apart.
Yeah.
But I do want people to know that I have that experience, and I did suffer a lot of post-traumatic stress where, like I'm just going to shut down, all the body parts would start to melt and like I'd be coming home shaking, just shaking because the impact of what would happen when I would get home, the anticipation of, and the worry of that day in, day out. So when I did finally make those decisions and move past that relationship, it still took months for me to even make, I remember one day I walked around my house and I went, I wonder what I'll do today. Oh my gosh, I can do whatever I like. And it just like, I hadn't been like that for so long. Even a year later, a year and a half even after all of that, if I get a phone call, I had a new partner by that stage, and it took a little while, and I was definitely in the right place for that. I get a phone call and I think, oh, my partner or my daughter, my partner or my daughter. And that used to be the anxiety, that used to be the tension, but now I could see things differently. Yeah. I had learnt tools and techniques in the darkest times. I learnt tools and techniques that could help me when I was driving, when I was in bed at night shaking like crazy and my heart palpitations and not able to sleep. These are the things that helped me get through. These are the things that actually enabled me to be emotionally and energetically stronger, and helped me move past what was the beliefs and what was trapping me physically as well as emotionally. And they're the skills that I like to share with people. Some of them are fairly simple, but they're extremely powerful, and it gives the power back to the woman. Mostly women. I haven't actually taught this to men, but I realise that there's a lot of women who are coming out of toxic relationships, and usually the first thing they need to deal with is the toxic relationship they have with themselves.
Oh, that's deep. That's deep.
And it's because they didn't have the right kind of relationship with themselves in the beginning that, and I will say, enabled the relationships that they've had after that, that potentially are also toxic. And I say that because that was me. That was me.
Yeah.
I did have a congruency about who I was. I couldn't even say the word love unless I was saying it to my kids or, you know, my partner. But I couldn't say it about me. I couldn't say I love me and I'm really amazing and I'm really powerful and I've got a great purpose here and I can share what I know. I couldn't do that. I'd get all teary and think, oh, you know, this is what I want, but I'm not deserving. And I'm not deserving and I'm not worthy of that. I wouldn't even dream of things because, well, I'm not deserving of those ideas of a future that sounds really great and looks really great, but I'm too scared because I might get rejected from that dream as well. And it might not happen and then I'll feel terrible.
Yeah.
So now I dream and now I plan and now I'm moving forward and the best things happening in my life at the moment. So I know it's possible.
I love that. I love that. Just knowing it's possible for someone who's in that situation to be able to look at you and know it's possible. There's so much hope in that then.
There is an immense amount of hope because I'm not just somebody who can say, you know what, in a couple of months' time, you know, you'll get over it and you'll wonder where you've been and, you know, you'll think it's going to be all different. And the fact is, while you're in the intensity of that, you really don't see how you can get through. You don't know what you want. You don't know that you've got a desire that's possible. But I was there and I know it is. And I know how to get out of that. And I know how to transition people through that.
Yeah.
So I like to encourage people to, you know, to focus on their divine potential, of course, but also to use, you know, mind body techniques and some, you know, cognitive techniques as well and plus more, of course, but to actually, you know, be in touch with who they are and to gain their own heroism.
I like that. I like that. Becoming your own hero.
Absolutely.
You don't need that other person. You've got everything.
You do need certain people along the way, you know, like guides and mentors and, you know, coaches, counselors. You do need those to help provide the content or the information or the techniques, but ultimately you do it yourself. Ultimately, you actually have to make the choice and the decision to actually move forward. And yes, I've got that information, but what am I going to do with it now? Am I going to do something or am I not? Am I going to leave that book there? Am I going to go to that class? Am I going to turn that Zoom call on to do some coaching with Leanne James? You know, there's a whole lot of opportunities, but do we actually decide within that we are worthy of that and then move forward? So it is possible. It is possible.
So if there was one thing that you could say to people in this situation, what would you say to them so they have that little spark of self-worth to take them that one step forward?
You are worth every effort for your own divine potential. Take whatever you can do and run forward with it, knowing that the opportunities will open up to you.
I love it. I love it. That's so beautiful. Oh. So through all this journey then, you would have had to display so much courage to not just face the situation you were in, but then to face yourself throughout that situation.
Yeah.
So what does courage mean to you then? What do you define courage as?
So courage for me was never that big, I'm going to jump off the cliff, I'm going to, you know, climb the tall mountain, I'm going to, you know, conquer the business world or get the PhD. It was never anything that was, you know, could be seen by anybody else. Actually, that's probably it. Courage was not anything that was for anybody else or seen by anybody else. It was completely from my inside. It was addressing who I am and identifying that I have worth. I have worth. So feed that, fan the flame. I had this little flame inside of me, and I just, I'm going to fan that flame, and I'm just going to see where it goes and just be open. So my business is Lotus Energies, and part of the feel of that is that, the lotus flower opens, and it opens one petal at a time. And I say every day, I am open to the universe. The universe is part of me, and I'm part of the universe, and I'm open to all the possibilities that are available. There's so much out there that can be ours. So just, I heard a quote, your mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's such great imagery, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? So, my advice is that if you don't feel it right now, believe it could be possible. You might not feel it here, but believe it could be possible, and go with that. And keep feeding those ideas, and gradually the feelings will come, and gradually the doing will come. And then you'll start to see that you'll begin to manifest and attract new opportunities. And before long, you'll be looking back going, wow, that was me then. And look where I am now. And this is great. I did this.